Okay, hello. Um, so I'm alone on this one. To everyone who joined earlier and got to see Rich and Odaje um, and Ariana, I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope you got something out of it. I hope there was a lot to think about there. What I want to do right now is a little mini version and probably a better version of what I tried to do last night, which is explain Inventive and really guide you in terms of how you can access Pendance 2021, what's coming, and show you a little bit about what's coming, and just give you a little bit of an overview of the entire event. Okay, so first things first, Inventive, right? Now, if you're someone who's not familiar with Inventive, this whole thing is going to feel very, very foreign to you. So I want to take you through some screenshots here. And okay, so here is Eventive. All right, so this is what Eventive looks like. It's very roughly similar to what Netflix looks like. So what you'll be able to do is from this screen, you can see here that you can browse features at the top, and they're all in chronological order. And you'll be able to obviously browse shorts, short blocks. There are certain genres like Pendance Midnight, Films by Women. And now when you're ready to make an order, all you have to do is click on what you're ordering, and you'd have to just go to pre-order now. Now, the cool thing about pre-ordering now is that it automatically goes into your pass. Now, if you have a pass or you buy a ticket, an Inventive should contact you when that film goes live. Now, for those who are not aware of how we're running Pendance this year, I want to explain it a little bit. So when a film goes live, now let's take example Paper Spiders. And a lot of people are really interested in the film Paper Spiders. And so it screens at 7 p.m. on Saturday. What does that mean, right? 7 p.m. virtually. What the hell does that mean? Well, first of all, it means at Eastern Daylight Time, so 7 p.m., the film will unlock and you will be able to view it. So if you're on the screen, it'll just be able to say, click play. If you start playing at 7 o'clock, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to watch the film with everybody else who's watching the film. I think there's about 40, 50 tickets sold at this point. I'm sure a lot will pour in tomorrow. And the best part about that is we've scheduled the director's Q&A right after. And that's the case for every film at Pendance. You're going to have a director Q&A right after. Okay? So the way it's going to work is you're going to watch the film on Inventive, and because we don't want to be dealing with all this like multi-streaming thing, all the Q&As that you're going to be able to see are on Facebook and YouTube. So the minute you're done with the film, you can just turn to your screen, your mobile phone, and watch the director's chat. The best part about this is you're actually going to be able to ask the director questions. And honestly, the coolest thing about this for the directors is they're going to be able to hear your questions. And I think that's a super missing part of what's been happening with the pandemic is I'm a filmmaker. I understand filmmakers. I've been talking to filmmakers all year. I want to know what my audience thinks. It's cool, to talk to a festival director, but I already know you like my film. You selected my film. So I want to hear what people have to say. I want to see what people saw in my film, what people got out of it. So that hopefully is one way that, even if you're not buying a ticket, you're not buying a pass, like people are really hard hit this year. Maybe some people don't like virtual events. That's fine. You don't have to watch all the films. And if you did buy a pass, you definitely don't have to watch all the films. But try to show face in these Q&As because I think the Pendance audience is an awesome audience. I see questions being asked at Pendance every year that blow other film festivals out of the water. And I've always been so proud that we have such a smart, intelligent, and insightful audience that asks really cool questions. So let's show the world what Toronto audiences and what Pendance audiences are about, and let's be really chatty. I know sometimes it's hard to ask a question, when you're in a theater with 120, 150 people, but now you're behind a keyboard, so you can ask all the questions you want. And I got to tell you, some of these filmmakers are truly elite. Now, I know that all festival directors boast about the filmmakers that they select, and they say, "Oh, this is great, that's great." Look, we're living in a world of hype, all right? And I'm not a hype man. I'm not hyping these filmmakers up. Some of these filmmakers, short selection, feature selection, are filmmakers that I really believe in, filmmakers that I believe that you should believe in, that you should be caring and very interested in what they have to say and how they think about film. And I think that it can help any aspiring filmmaker make better films. I think it can make someone who's curious about film in general learn film and look at film differently. And that's really what Pendance is about. It's, I don't want to sound snobby or anything and say it's an industry event. It's not an industry-only event. But the people who are attending Pendance this year, for the most part, a lot of them are programmers, a lot of them are, filmmakers, and it's this artist community that we're trying to build up. So before I ramble on any further, let's show you a little bit about what's actually coming to Pendance. There's a lot. So I want to run some trailers here. One trailer that I want to run is for the first short block that's going to be coming up, and it's called Story Over Everything. Now, you know that if we named the short block after our hashtag, it has to be special, and this one is. So check this out.
What are you going to do when you get him inside? Snuggle up in your butt just because you don't want to force anything fun.
Oh, fuck. Oh.
Okay, so that was Story Over Everything short block. That plays tomorrow at 2 p.m. and you'll be able to catch the Q&A at 4 p.m. Now, on to the next short block, and this one is a doozy. It's full of really insightful films. Some are really dark and quite disturbing films. I think hopefully you'll be able to get that from the trailer. Also, I think there might be a little bit of a lag on the video, so I hope this one goes a little bit better. Okay, so that plays tomorrow, and you'll be able to catch the Q&A at 1 a.m. Now, why the hell would we put a film that late? Well, frankly, it's not safe for kids. So if you have kids, put them to bed before you watch Pendance Midnight. It's some pretty disturbing shit. It's there's some nudity, there's some graphic scenes, but these films are truly really disturbing, and in the best possible way, thoughtful, disturbing, not just gore for the sake of gore. So that's what's coming up then. Now we have Through Her Eyes coming up on Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. You'll be able to catch the Q&A shortly after. Here we go.
We are caregivers. We are artists. We are activists. We are entrepreneurs, doctors, leaders of industry and technology. Our potential is unlimited. We rise. We rise.
Do you know? Like, do you actually know?
Okay, so we got that. All right, and now we're going to go into a very fun thing. So most people would think, how can you program shorts at 9 p.m. on a Saturday? Well, we can when they're this fun. And so this is one of the most fun short blogs that you're ever going to see in your life. It's funny, it's action, it's a lot of really good things. So.
No, you look like a nerd cop.
Завърши. Трябва да дам да се я видим къде.
Okay, and something we were not able to share last night, so this is a special one for us because the music is by one of our co-founders, Angelica, and it is Cinema Mon Amour. It plays on Sunday. It features 2 world premieres, including 2 of my favorite films of the film festival, making world premieres here. One is by an alumni, and one is by a very talented young Canadian filmmaker, so check that out. Okay, so we have that. And okay, so one more thing. There's a world premiere feature coming to Pendance, and it's really exciting for us. We've always been talking about how it would be really cool if the film came here first. And it's happened a few times for shorts. And I don't get too bogged up into premiere status. I mean, we've had the opportunity to grab a whole bunch of world premieres before, but it had to be a good film. It had to be something that we could really program and get behind and champion. And I'm really happy to say that we can. So this is the first ever musical coming to Pendance, the first ever world premiere coming to Pendance. Here, have a look.
Eh bien, quoi? C'est courageux pour toi d'harceler Venla.
Mes larmes, viens enfin les sécher. Mon amour, odeur de thé, je t'attends, je ne sais plus.
Hän ei tullut. Silloin joku toinen.
Paris, la butte de Montmartre, ces marches montant très nos talons de demoiselle. Ces peintres, puis-je vous demander, seriez-vous aussi clairvoyante? Puis-je avoir une photo de celui qui
Okay, so that film is coming on Friday at 5:30. I'm very excited about it. It's really cool. The cast, the crew, everybody is going to be joining us. And I was having this really funny conversation with one of the producers on the film, and I'm not even sure I should say this in public, but it was funny because I was saying that we were having such a hard time over here getting press, because everyone's busy with South by Southwest, and people are saying, like, maybe I'll have some time to cover Pendance, but, you're second fiddle to this and you're second fiddle to that. And she was saying, over here, like, Pendance is a really big deal. And I thought that was really crazy. But the truth is we've spent 4 years celebrating films from all around the world and picking films from all around the world and picking some very prominent directors from all around the world. And so, when someone like Peter Brunner or Tamas, or these really incredible filmmakers who have huge national on the national spotlight credibility within their country, when they choose Pendance for their Canadian premiere or to come to Pendance, it definitely does raise the profile with media in that country. So it's really cool to see Pendance globally, and I know that a lot of people will be watching these Q&As and watching these things live from around the world. I realized that today's entire schedule was kind of like winged last second. We didn't tell a lot of people about it, and it was by design. We obviously wanted to do a dry run. We wanted to have these conversations to show you hopefully to shed some light on the types of conversations that we're going to be having at Pendance. But yeah, so we'll be hopefully getting a really, really healthy audience for the panels on Saturday and as well as tomorrow. So to tell you about those panels, let's talk about those panels because they're interesting. They're really interesting, and if you're in the film industry, they're super duper interesting. So here's the three coming. So number one is the future of hybrid and digital festivals. Look, I mean, this must be a big deal because we literally talked about it in both panels today. I think in 3 panels today, we talked about digital festivals and what's going on and what's coming up. So I think that it's a really important topic for filmmakers to understand what festivals are going through, how to transition, how difficult it is, what the pros and cons of the platforms. So Filmocracy versus Eventive. I know to you guys this is like whatever, I don't care, give me films, but the platforms offer a very different audience engagement, and it would be interesting, I think, to understand where our festival is going. And you're going to have 6 people who've had a lot of experience with virtual, and they're going to talk about things they wish they'd done differently, things they're really happy with, how they're planning on doing things going forward, and hopefully with the range of festivals we have a few younger film festivals, and we have some mega established film festivals like Bahamas. And to hear from all those festivals, I think you're going to get a pulse on where this is going. So to smart filmmakers out there who are submitting to festivals and saying, what is my $60 even getting me? What is my $30 getting me, my submission fee, and how much value are these festivals planning on getting back, and what's the platform that they plan on putting my film on? I think this is a must watch. I think it's a really, really good way to gauge where festivals are at. Now on Saturday, we have tips from a festival programmer featuring honestly 4 of the best festival programmers in North America, and I can't even believe that they're on the same panel. I don't think they can believe they're on the same panel. They're all really excited. Robin is a fantastic person. She was on our jury last year. She's head programmer for TIFF. And Alexandra Mitchell she was the competitions director and a shorts programmer for the Austin Film Festival. Leslie Scallon is the founder of the festival that Ariana works at, and Pendance FIlm Films LA is huge and a really, really well-run film festival. And then we have Canada's own Brenda Lieberman. And honestly, if there's one woman who's done more in Calgary for film, I'd like to know who that is. Because she's not only worked at SIFF, she's also worked at helped launch the Calgary Underground Film Festival, which is, I believe, in its 14th or 15th year at this point. She's been at this for a while, and there's nothing that she hasn't seen. And honestly, every one of these women on some level has been very influential in how I understand film festivals. I interviewed Brenda back in 2016 for Pensari Films magazine, and she was just as helpful then as I'm sure that she'll be just as helpful today, if not more. So that's an incredible panel, and I definitely think you should check it out. That's on Saturday at 1 p.m. Now, here goes. Okay, I used the term hero quite a few times today, and Mark Grasso is definitely, keep that on. He's definitely one of them for me. When I watched his film Kodachrome, watched his film Under, Copenhagen was one of my favorite films of the year that year, and I can't even wait to see what he does with sci-fi. So Mark is going to come on, and he's going to talk about how he makes films, like his entire process going from A to Z. How does he pick collaborators? How does he get funding? How does he pitch projects? How does he find inspiration for scripts? I think this is a super insightful thing. And, look, there's 2 parts to the equation when it comes to interviews. Who's being interviewed, number one, because you can't, give answers that you don't have, and you can't reflect on anything that you haven't really worked through. And, Mark's a really experienced guy. There's very few filmmakers in the world who've done more in the last 8 years than him. And then the other part is how honest are they willing to be, and how honest are we willing to, how honestly are we willing to ask the questions. So I think that hopefully what you got a snapshot of today already is that we're going to have very relaxed conversations and very true to form and real conversations, and not a lot of, filtration and politicking going on. We just want to really leave these for filmmakers to learn. Filmmakers don't often get to have candid conversations with filmmakers like Mark, especially emerging filmmakers, and they definitely don't get to ask questions of these guys. And honestly, I don't think filmmakers get to hear candid conversations between programmers. And, you know, deliberately, I think what you'll find with the programmers panel, to go back on that, is these are very different people. I mean, they're all elite programmers. They all have a foundational and very amazing understanding of film, but they also see programming very differently. So again, that is just a refresher course. This is the future of digital. This is coming tomorrow. You'll be able to catch it tomorrow, Friday, at 12. Yes, 12 p.m. And it features six people who've gone digital and their experiences. On Saturday at 1 p.m., you'll have tips from a festival programmer. And on Saturday at 4 p.m., you're going to have Mark Grasso on the art of making a film. So check the schedule. And Pendance officially starts tomorrow. Our first screening is at 2 o'clock. Just going to leave the schedule up here. So at 2 o'clock tomorrow, you're going to have Story of Everything. If you can look at the schedule generally, we have no overlaps at this festival. You don't have to choose anything. So you're going to have that. Hold on, I'm going to leave this up here for a second. So if you look at the entire schedule, you have a lot of documentaries on Friday. Friday's a lot about documentaries. You have Story of Everything, which is a doc block. You have State of Texas versus Melissa, which won Raindance, actually, is the best documentary feature. You have, and you have Bears on Pine Ridge at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So yes, I've made a mistake. Okay, perfect. Just to reiterate here, this panel happens at 1 p.m. That's why you need a schedule. So Bears on Pine Ridge happens at 12. The Future of Digital panel happens at 1. So between Bears on Pine Ridge, Story of Everything, and State of Texas versus Melissa, you pretty much have your entire documentary. So anyone at home who really, really wants to watch docs, honestly, that's 3 documentaries, like 6 documentaries, 5 documentaries in the Story of Everything blog, plus a narrative, which is like a documentary. So you have 7 documentaries total. Spend an afternoon watching documentaries. All of these, 2 of those have Q&As. You'll be able to talk to the directors. Friday night gets pretty fun, actually. Dinner in America, it's honestly, if you've watched Napoleon Dynamite and you like Napoleon Dynamite, you're gonna love Dinner in America. It's that type of thing. It's not derivative at all. It's totally fresh, but that's the best way you can explain it to somebody, is that it's got a real funky soul to it. And My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To by Jonathan Cortez. Both films will have a Q&A. Midnight Shorts will have a Q&A. Again, Q&A happens exactly after the film. You can check the Q&A schedule on Pendance website. So that's a really fun night, right? So it starts with documentaries in the afternoon, gets really fun towards the evening. Saturday, we get really, really artsy with Window Boy Would Also Like to Have a Submarine. This was a really good film. It's right smack dab in the middle of those 2 workshop panels. Through Her Eyes, you saw the trailer for it earlier. It's 7 shorts by women that are amazing. They're truly ridiculously good, and two of my favorite films in the entire festival are in that block. They're really good. They're all hammering home at this theme of overcoming. I recently had a conversation with somebody who said that being a woman in the film industry was like being an alien. And I'm not a woman, and I don't understand that, but every one of these films is hammering home at that concept of overcoming something like that, overcoming bigotry, overcoming abuse, overcoming something. So it's interesting. It's an interesting block, and I definitely suggest you check it out. Paper Sliders is one of the best films, in my opinion, of the year, best independent films of the year, and Al Champagnia will be on live after to do a Q&A. It's a film that has gone all over. It was at Dances with Films as their opening night film. We just heard from Ariana about that. It's a really good film. It's going to be releasing nationwide this summer, so in a few months. So it's a really good film, and I definitely suggest you check it out. It's about mental health, and it's compelling. It's extremely well acted. It's extremely thought provoking. I can't wait for the Q&A. And right after that, we have that very fun block of shorts I told you about, Show Me the Money. And again, it's comedy, and it's drama, and it features some absolutely memorable performances. If you were around Pendance Year 1, if you remember Curfew, that's the tone, right? Curfew, short, the Oscar-winning short. Afterwards, we had Bleed With Me. Okay, so this is the first time we've had a Canadian feature at the festival, and Amelia Moses is a rising star in Canada. Her film premiered at Fantasia, and she's a fantastic young director. I believe she's 28 years old, and it's unimaginable to be this skilled at this age. And this film is it's an independent film. It was shot on a very independent budget, but it's managed to do extremely well. It has distribution in Canada, has distribution in the United States, and you'll be hearing a lot about this filmmaker in the next 10 years, I guarantee it. So check her work out at this stage and be one of those cool people who got to say, I got to see Amelia Moses' work before she became like the biggest name in horror. So, okay, so we have that, and then we get to Sunday, and Sunday is a really big day for us. So we have The Bears on Pine Ridge, 12-1. Again, this is a rescreening, but this screening comes with a suicide panel. So, it's a suicide prevention panel. So the director, Noel Bass, he'll be on with Tiny and a few other people from the film, and they're going to be talking about how they're dealing with what's happening in Pine Ridge. So it's a reservation. Bears on Pine Ridge, I was on David Peck's show yesterday talking about Bears on Pine Ridge, and if you haven't checked that out, you can check that link in my bio here. It's a really interesting film. It's a heartbreaking film, but it's also a hopeful film. It takes you on quite an emotional journey across 40 minutes, and I sincerely suggest you check it out. It's a problem that feels very specific, because if you're not native and you don't live in Pine Ridge, you're like, well, why should I care? But I assure you that the film is made in a way that you will find broad applications for that story in your life, in your community, and I'm sure that it will change how you see kids and how you see youth and how you see community engagement and how you see people like Tiny who are making a difference in these kids' lives. And I think it's a very inspirational film for that way. So definitely check that out. Noel will be on Q&A. Right after that, we have Toprak, which is our first ever, honestly, Sunday's a day of firsts, and that's our first ever Turkish film. The director and the DOP will be on. It's stunningly beautiful. I think the audience, anyone who's making independent films on a micro budget, you need to listen to this Q&A, because this film looks amazing, but when they tell you how they made it and how quickly they made it, I think it's going to really blow your mind in terms of what's possible on independent films. And they've done really well with film festivals. It's gone to tons of film festivals, including winning best new director at Woods Hole Film Festival, which is an awesome film festival. So check that out. Cinema Mon Amour, again, already talked about it, showed you the trailer, love it. Super thoughtful, extremely, I don't want to say inaccessible, because some of these films, they are very smart, and you're gonna have to have a certain taste to get them. Some of them are not that hard to get, but there's a lot to think about with every one of these films. There are various mediums. You've got animation, you've got documentary, you've got cinema verite, you've got a ton of things. So if you appreciate cinema, you need to watch this short block. I guarantee you that these young filmmakers are going to go, they are already going in big places. Anthony Minty, who's the final film of that block, was just shortlisted for an Oscar. So, these are truly some of the most talented filmmakers in the world. And I know I've said that a few times already, but trust me, I work in the industry. I know exactly how rare it is to make the types of films that these guys are making, and these are very good filmmakers. Okay, and then on to The Cafe of My Memories, which was the trailer that I showed you earlier. It's a musical. It's a Finnish-French musical, and it's about a couple that meet, and then they move, and then they face financial troubles. It's not that hard to get. It's funny. It's accessible. It's a world premiere. Definitely check it out, especially if you're into musicals. This is definitely for you. The music is absolutely beautiful. The cinematography is stunning. So definitely check that out. It is a world premiere. It's and I don't know if I'm actually not allowed to say that, but it is going to a really cool film festival afterwards, a really big film festival afterwards, after its world premiere. So definitely check that out. And now we get to closing night. Now, don't think that we threw away closing night. We put two of our very best films at closing night. Lorelei is stars two amazing actors, Pablo Schreiber and Jenna Malone, and it's by a fantastic director who's she's done so well with this film. It went to Tribeca. It's also just recently won a narrative feature prize at the Miami Film Festival. So it's an incredible film. It's not that difficult to understand the heart that it has, and it will stay with you for a very long time. And it's almost like this film is a setup for the final film of the night, which is The Trouble with Being Born. Now, that film plays from 10 to 12 midnight, and it is also by female directors. So we are closing the festival on two female directors, and it is an incredibly self-assured second feature. It's very smart, and it's hauntingly good. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, the cinematography is brilliant. If you're a cinematographer out there, you need to watch this film, because some of the framing, some of the lighting is a technically masterful film. It's approaching what I would call a masterpiece level film, and I'm sure that a lot of people won't like it. I've seen that reaction before, but people who do like it will love it, like for sure. So, anyways, that's a little bit of a Pendance. I realize not a lot of people are watching right now, which is perfectly fine, because we just totally announced this event like out of the cuff. So I will take some time tomorrow to announce our sponsors. I want to do that because I want to do so when a lot of people are actually watching, so I can talk about our sponsors. We had local sponsors this year, as well as some big sponsors this year, and I want to thank them both, because they've been awesome. One of the ideas that we had this year was, hey, we've done pretty well during the pandemic, but we haven't been hit hard like bookstores and studios and places that are brick and mortar, right? We kind of, we had fewer submissions, okay, but there are some businesses that are just not designed to weather a pandemic, and we wanted to help some of those businesses out, because it's really important, and bills need to continue being paid, and these places need work, and work is, especially in the film industry, whatever, it's not as easy to find right now. So our sponsors are, several film studios, the People's Pantry, TO, which is a really great group, grassroots group doing amazing work for people who can't afford food right now. And also Seeker's Books, which is a bookstore in the Annex, which is one of the last, of its kind, so the last vestibule of, hope that independent bookstores can compete with giant chains. And it's such a cool store. And I would love for the next time you think about ordering something, and granted the pandemic, be safe, but if you think about ordering something off of Amazon, just go to your local bookstore and have a conversation with these guys, because they're a really good bookstore. So anyways, that's it for me. Thank you to everyone who watched and everyone who will watch later. And I guess I want to close this off with a little sentimental note about why we're even doing this, like why Pendance exists, and why I'm fighting so hard, and we are all fighting so hard for independent artists to have a voice. This stems from a conversation that I've had with several conversations that I've had with several people about the importance of independent thought. I think when everybody watches all the same stuff, people lack exposure and fresh ideas. If we're all watching the same 10 movies every year, or the same 20 shows every year, and reading the same 15 books every year, and watching the same news channel every day, where does the difference come from? And it is at our differences that we become most interesting, I find. So, I love the idea that my favorite film list and my favorite book list doesn't resemble anyone that I know. I'm not saying that to sound snotty or whatever. It's not the case. It just means that when I meet people who have different tastes, I can learn about theirs and they can learn about mine, which just simply does not exist if we're reading all the same books and watching all the same things. So I think film festivals exist for that reason, is to give independent artists a voice and a stage to connect, and I know that, in the digital setting, it's not the same connection. I know a lot of people who are super heartbroken that this pandemic, deprive them of an opportunity to come to Toronto, be at TIFF Bell Lightbox, get on stage at Pendance. I understand that completely, and believe me, as a filmmaker myself, I've been bummed as well. You know, I have not liked these pre-recorded Q&As. I have not liked this concept of just mailing it in and just giving the audience, you know, I can put my own film on Vimeo. I don't need somebody to do that for me. So adding some urgency to these screenings, I highly encourage you to attend the Q&As and the panels. You know, honestly, I can't tell you you should bypass or that you have to bypass or whatever to support Pendance. It's not really about supporting Pendance, it's about supporting these artists. I want to say this just from the heart. Artists have been hit really hard. Everyone has, but artists don't have work right now, and the places that are supposed to be exhibiting their work are basically, you know, they're almost non-existent. Theaters that are supposed to exist for artists to get on stage and get feedback, you know. We don't select the types of artists, we don't select the type of filmmakers that are just in there to watch their own film. That's not what we're about. That's not the type of filmmakers that we're selecting. How many times at Pendance have I seen a filmmaker slip out of their screening and just watch the audience? That's a really important part of what film festivals are supposed to be able to do for artists. And it breaks my heart so much that we are not able to do that this year. So this is the closest that we can get to it. We can blast the crap out of you know, the Q&As. We want people to attend, ask questions, watch these films. They're really good. They're absolutely amazing. So that's all I have for you today. You know, definitely check out some stuff. And also, my closing note, I realize that this has been a really, really hard time for people, and financially, it might not be feasible to afford any tickets or passes to a film festival. I completely get that. So there's a lot you can do at Pendance for free, and it's all interactive. The stuff that you can do for free is almost all interactive. You can go to Pendance and you can check out the special selections. There's 8 films there. Well, there's 7 right now, and there will be 8 as of tonight. And you'll be able to see those. And they're really cool films. And one of them is making, you know, a couple of them are making premieres in the special selections. They're free to watch. You can watch them all weekend. They'll be unlocked. So you can definitely do that. You can attend these panels. You can attend the Q&As. And yeah, maybe you haven't watched the film, but we'll bridge some gaps. You know, we'll tell you a little bit about the film before it starts. Yeah, so these are some of the most, you know, these are some of the coolest people in the world, and I'm really humbled that they'll be able to attend virtually. There's cast and crew, there's producers, there's lots of people. So people are really excited about this. I'm really excited about this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm out.